Hello, and welcome to the Minted Genius podcast. My name is Lila, and I'm happy to be with you today as we celebrate human ingenuity, creativity, and mint our genius like raw gold into precious coins of achievement. Let's give ourselves a huge round of applause for everything that we are doing and how we're managing through this pandemic. It seems in some places it's taking longer to open up again, and the fortitude that people are having to show, the courage, the strength of everyday people who are caught up in this global phenomenon is remarkable. We need to remind ourselves we're strong and we're brave. One of the things that I've been dealing with in the last few weeks is feeling under the weather and not really being able to get as better as I would have hoped as quickly. And so one of the things that I'm doing in order to keep my spirits up is taking comfort from other people that are managing to overcome or have overcome. One of my favorite heroes in this type of overcoming story is Laura Hillenbrand. She is the author of Seabiscuit and The Unbroken. Both of these books have been made into films. And you'd never know from reading her books that Laura actually was stuck in isolation in bed for years, dealing with mystery illnesses that basically turned out to be something along the lines of chronic fatigue syndrome, but it also included vertigo. She had so much going on to bring her down, to keep her small, to keep her, under the covers. And yet she found a way to use her mind, even though she was not really that able to use her body. She realized that she had to be intellectually active if she could not be physically active. Now, flash forward decades later, and she's finally starting to get some physical activity and recovery, which is amazing. But if she had waited that long, her entire main, sort of time of being a productive adult would have been lost. So instead, she kept going. Through those years that most people are out vibrantly enjoying life, she was stuck in bed and she used that time to write. She interviewed people by phone because she couldn't physically go to them. She worked with newspapers, anything she could to do her research. She became someone who advanced her cause and her career and her life's purpose, despite her body not being cooperative at all. I have a friend who's finishing a book himself, and he sent me an email mentioning how incredibly, the process goes one step forward and two steps back. And I think what Laura Hillenbrand did and what my friend and I are trying to do is to focus on the one step forward and not the two steps back. No matter what challenges we face, the refocusing of our mind towards what's working, what can be better, and towards taking that step forward every single day is really where our power lies. Now, I admit, especially in the last few weeks, there are days that I can't really move forward in any, really celebratory way. It's depressing when the progress is incredibly slow. It's depressing when we're not well and we find that we're not getting better. But it's incredibly inspiring when we think outside of ourselves for a moment and look at someone like Laura Hillenbrand who's already overcome. What's interesting is that she also writes about overcoming in Seabiscuit and Unbroken. And what's fascinating about her too is that this type of determination was occurring even though she didn't have a lot of support from her friends and family, many of whom began to think she was just lazy. It's really interesting that there are people who really do still believe in us, even when things are taking longer or we seem to be constantly struggling. There's always someone in our lives that we can look to that whispers, keep going. And if it's not an external person, sometimes it's our own intuitive inner voice. And if we still don't have that to hold on to, there's stories like Laura Hillenbrand that we can look to for inspiration. The refocusing of our mind onto that one step forward rather than the despair or depression over the two steps back, that's where the gold lies. That's where we mint our genius into precious coins of achievement, even if it's one little tiny inch at a time. We have to celebrate that because, once we get to a point where the huge success arrives, the huge leap forward comes in, all the strength we've built over the focus on those incremental steps becomes the foundation of character and strength that gets us through not only the struggle that got us to success, but also gets us through the challenges of success, which comes with its own array of things to overcome. Number one, I think, in life is the ability to stay centered like the eye of the hurricane, whether you're challenged or whether you're succeeding. Being able to get to a place where your character is so strong, so based in positive alignment of your thoughts to your actions, so based in the ability to refocus onto the next great step you can take, so that you're not just minting your genius once or twice, but many times over. That's why I refer to it as minting our genius like gold into precious coins of achievement, coins plural, because there's so much that we can achieve once we've already achieved, right? You're building on one platform after another. So whether, like me, you're feeling under the weather, or whether you have all of the energy but not able to move your career forward because of this pandemic, just remember that every step counts and it can build you to a much greater place. But the one thing that you always have is your capacity to focus and refocus on the positive and keep building and stepping up. One day you'll be in a whole new platform, but all that you have gained in strength, courage, dignity, and character will be with you, solid under your feet, so that you can leap up and fly. Thank you for listening. I'm Lila from Minted Genius. I wish you a phenomenal, inspired week ahead.